Hello and welcome to Channel Sports on Sunday. I'm Cecilia Omogbe, standing in for Ken Ochanogo. On the program today, of course, I won't be doing it alone because we usually have the regular guests. They are in the building. But today's show, we will be focusing on the World Athletics Championships taking place in Oregon, in Eugene, where Team Nigeria, of course, yes, they started on a good run, but no matter yet. But then we have an athlete who is through to the next round of the 200 meters, talking about Grace Nwokocha. And of course, for the U.S., for the first time in 31 years, they had a clean sweep in the 100 meters, a historic moment for the Americans today. Also, we'll be talking about the African Women's Championship taking place in Morocco, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria will be taking on Morocco on Monday. They also have the NPFL, the final day, of course. You know, the teams that have been relegated, and of course the champions have been decided. But for Rivers United, they will be handing their trophy to them for the first time in their history. So much to talk about on the show today. Yemi Bakari, of course, is in the studio. You also have Theophilus Agbola. He's also in the studio. Phil? Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sissy. It's good to be here.
What's the last time I saw you guys?
Good afternoon, Sissy.
Maybe.
It's been a while, actually.
All right, let's guess. I mean, the World Championships, you've been following what is actually going on right there in Eugene, in Oregon, where, I mean, Team Nigeria, of course, they started, yes, you would say on a good note, because of the way, you know, they actually went. Experience really not so there. But somehow we've got some big performance coming from Team Nigeria, where you have Favour Ashe in that 100 meters, where the best of the best were actually there. He just couldn't make it to the final. So we have selected results for you this morning coming from the World Athletics Championships in Oregon, where you have Nathaniel Ezekiel. He got, in the men's 400 meters hurdles, he finished 49.64 seconds, and he finished third. So he's through to the semifinals. Grace Nwokocha, in the women's 200 meters, she ran 11.16 seconds. She finished second, you know, in her race. Of course, you have Favour Ashe in the men's 100 meters. He finished fourth. He couldn't make it to the finals, but he was able to get to the semifinals, 10.12 seconds. And for Raymond Ekero, for the men's 100 meters, he also 10.20 seconds. He finished eighth in the semifinals. And Ruth Usoro in the women's triple jump, she finished 12th in the qualification after jumping 13.93 meters. And that was what she could get at the end of the day. That's the performance that Team Nigeria were in action. Let's go straight to the Commonwealth Games. That's starting anytime. Team Nigeria is supposed to travel on 25th of this month. Yeah. But then we're going to be having 94 athletes that will be representing Nigeria. There's so many stories that will be going on about why are we participating in 9 sports? Why not let everyone go? You know, jamboree and all. But the ministry say, look, we're sticking with this because we feel that these are the events that will give us, you know,
the medals.
Medals. I mean, July 22nd, that's when they will be leaving the country, and we will be participating in 9 sports. You have track and field, you have boxing, you have para-athletics, you have weightlifting, of course, you have table tennis, you have boxing, yes.
Wrestling.
Wrestling is also part of it, yes. Judo is part of the sports we will be taking part. But let's listen to the Director of Ministry of Youth and Sports, Manga Mohammed, talking about the reason why we will be taking part in 9 sports. And of course, a total of 94 athletes will be representing Nigeria at the forthcoming Commonwealth Games in Birmingham.
The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development will present these 91 athletes and 21 accompanying technical personnel that have qualified through several qualification competitions overseas to carry the banner of our nation to the Games. These competitions, as well as the open camping, which led to the international events, have now dovetailed into a close camp for Team Nigeria in 3 cities of Abuja, FCT, Lagos in Lagos State, and Yenagoa in Bayelsa State. Athletics, boxing, para-athletics, and weightlifting will be camping in Abuja, whilst Lagos will be venue to para-table tennis, para-powerlifting, table tennis, and judo. Yenagoa, Bayelsa is campsite for wrestling because we have an international wrestling arena in Bayelsa. These camps will run up until Team Nigeria's staggered departures to the games in Birmingham, beginning from 22nd of July.
Okay, trying to play safe right there. 91 athletes representing Nigeria. And at the World Athletics Championships, USA are having 151 team. Just track and field alone. I'm not comparing. I'm just trying to say 91 athletes. But then we'll see if we can get medals. No, the Commonwealth Games is not for everybody. It's just for those, you know, that were then colonized by the British government. So that's why you won't be having the likes of USA, Japan. Those big countries will not be there. So hopefully that's where we're thinking we can get something started.
I think the ministry is just trying to be cautious. I would not use the word smart. Focusing on the areas where they feel they have comparative advantages, of course. There is no point wasting funds that are actually not even there in the first place on somebody that you know or a particular sport, sending athletes for a particular sport that you know they will not win.
Do you think that's the right thing to really do?
But
because how do you grow other games if you don't give them opportunity?
But this has always been the
because this is the Commonwealth Games. This is not the Olympics. Do you understand? So if you can, you know, you try to use this and bring in more competitions or more sport to be there so that those, for instance, the badminton team qualified for the Commonwealth Games, they're not going. And these guys were at the last Olympics. So if you can't build on the success.
This is beyond them.
If you can't build on the success.
This is beyond them.
It's beyond the...
Yes, that is positive fund. Yeah, some months back, we looked at the budget of the National Ministry of Youth and Sport. And we discovered that the NYSC was bundled together. NYC is taking a large chunk of over 90%. Almost 91%. 91% of that chunk. The remaining will go to the Sport Federation. And it's not even enough to run those federations. Yeah. So if they don't have sponsors, there's no way the ministry can actually send
so much work. Talking about that sponsorship, right? When the minister came on, you know, this Adopt an Athletes campaign that came on, I feel that there's something they call about the sports trust funds, you know, something you can have, you know, to mitigate situations like this. I feel by now we shouldn't be talking, because when he came, there was so many lofty ideas that we all bought into it. We felt a time will come that we don't really have to start saying we are not taking these athletes because of funds. I didn't want to hear that. I want to stick with, because these are where you want to win medals, which I think is not the right thing to do, because if athletes have gone to the Olympics the last time and you won't allow them to go for the Commonwealth Games, how do they build on it going into the next Olympics, which is going to be 2024? So that's the question I'm trying to ask here. So if you're saying you don't have funds,
that, but fund is still
why didn't you prepare for the Commonwealth Games and get the money for these athletes?
On this show multiple times, and it will tell you all the preparation it takes into just getting one athlete ready for an international competition. And of course, by the time you get the funds that are actually allocated to them for these athletes, you begin to wonder. And you're asking that, okay, fine, this will not even go around for everybody. Now, I for one know that one of my best hopefuls of getting medals at the Commonwealth Games is actually our wrestlers. You know, because we've seen what they have been able to do over time. Competition has been building up on it. I get what Sisi is saying, but ultimately we have to understand this is our reality. And all the promises that have been made, unfortunately, no one has come to pass. So far, we have to make do with what we have. And it's rather unfortunate. It kills the morals of these athletes.
Yes.
You are putting all the work, you want to go there.
Just to even corroborate what Till just said, the last time wrestling championship they had in Rabat in Morocco.
Okay, Rabat, yeah.
And everybody was like, oh, the wrestlers did so well. Italy was like, I could have presented more wrestlers, but
and almost everybody get
one more
medals, yes.
You know,
it is what it is.
So if
that's
the
our
athletes
reality.
at the Commonwealth Games come back with 2 or 3 medals, no one should complain, because I mean you don't put in the numbers, so you don't expect to get more. That's how it is.
No, I think that's what it is.
So that's the point I'm trying to say. That's having a team
is not suffering
USA
from the funding issue. Okay. It is what it is.
Let's not talk about the economy right now. Now let's talk about the master plan. That's the football development master plan, the 10-year master plan. The committee was inaugurated last year in November, where they were expected to come up with the master plan where you can have, like, how do we develop our football in the next 10 years? And right now they've submitted the report to the sports ministry, and the sports ministry have said that, look, these reports would not end up in the shelf or offices and you have to dust it out. They will want to implement it. And how do they do that? They're going to present it to the president, and from there it's going to give them a go-ahead. Both the ministry and the Nigerian Football Federation will have to drive the implementation in different phases. But the key thing has to do with, you know, the elections. coming up, the expansion of membership of voting in the Congress of the Nigerian Football Federation. That's one of the major, reports coming out from there. But then they said they're going to provide a kind of a conducive platform, for these developments to thrive. Maybe later we'll get to have later what's the whole thing it's all about, because they did not really give us, the details of what the report is. But then they've come up with a master plan and it's submitted to the minister. But let's listen to the minister talking about the fact that this master plan will be fully followed and fully implemented.
Clearly, there is now a better understanding of what it means and what it takes to plan and put structures in place for the future of the Nigerian youth and our football development. We, as a ministry, are also happy that we never compromise on the quality of the persons and indeed their pedigree called upon to serve in this committee. On behalf of Mr. President, Muhammadu Buhari commissioned this assignment. I received this report, and I want to assure that this report will be submitted to Mr. President and his action plan followed through the letter. This will not be done. This will not be one of such reports that will not see the light of day. It is a public document.
All right, we're talking about the Presidential Committee on the 10-year football master plan that was inaugurated last year by the sports minister. Nowadays, after 8 months, they've been able to submit that report. Of course, Yemi, I'll come to you first. I mean, you were talking about, behind the scene and before we came back, like, okay, how long does this government have? Are they going to continue with it? But you heard from the sports minister. He said, look, this will be presented to the president. And, of course, they're going to follow it and fully implement what they have on the report that was chaired by Ibrahim Galadima.
So, Sisi, I think we just like setting up different committees. I recall some years back, the likes of Big Sheg led something on for the National Institute of Sport. Exactly. You will look at that document and that if this thing were to be implemented, we would not be.
Where's the document?
Where's the document?
Is it on the shelf?
It's garden door somewhere.
On the shelf, okay.
Any serious government, if they're doing this in the first year of their tenure, I will say, oh, yes. The minister cannot beat his chest to say, and for a fact that, yes, he has the powers to make sure that this will be implemented. Elections are coming now. Yeah. Governors will take a back seat. And we all know how this thing works. You are coming up with the 7th year of your, how do I put it, of your tenure when you're almost leaving. What guarantees do you have that the government coming in would actually even look into this? So for me, I think that's not really the way to go. It's just, for me, it's just an academic exercise.
Okay, over time, the minister talks about the fact that they're trying to build an institution. They want to have a policy that they want to follow. So if they have a policy they're following and they have an institution, so whoever is coming will have to take a look at this report because you already have a structure that was set in place with you.
Well, we talk about policies, we talk about structures, and the problem we have is implementation. Like I said, it's not the first time it's happening, in as much as we want to put it in play.
But now that we're trying to have a structure and the policies
like
in place to follow.
We're trying to.
So
it's been 8 months, and the timing for me is rather, the timing is rather off for me. And like Yemi rightly put it, we have to look at the current state of things right now. Election is coming. Like you said, governors take a back seat and people are focused on other things. Well, let's see where it might end up being implemented, policy might end up being put into play, and it all works out. But for me, as far as Nigeria, with what I have seen over the past couple of years, I do not think so.
So,
it's just something like you talked about, we'll gather dust at the end of the day.
You mentioned something about policy, institution. Where are the foundations for those? Nigeria is what we regard to as like a frontier market, where anything is possible. And that's why we see a lot of policy somersault. That's why we see, we've seen it in different sectors. This particular government will privatize a particular thing, and that government will come and upturn it.
Okay.
Those are the attributes of a frontier market, where anything can happen.
Possible.
So we're not even now talking about sport, coming up with a policy in this 7th year. I think, anyway, we're not talking policy, we're discussing sport. The Confab report is something that should tell us that this is nothing that will happen. The intention of the sport minister might be good. I think the timing is off.
It's off. Okay, let's see if the implementation may just start, with the forthcoming NFF election, because according to Galadima, he talked about the fact that they're actually in 2 volumes, and they recommended expansion for membership of the Voting Congress of the Nigerian Football Federation. So that would definitely provide that conducive platform for everyone to be part of it. So maybe if it happens at the NFF Congress, at the NFF election, that will set a tone. So let's hope for that, so we don't lose hope, right?
Hope is not a strategy.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about what's currently going on in Morocco, where the Super Falcons, they're through to the semi-finals, and of course they've secured a World Cup ticket. For the Falcons, yes, they didn't start on a good note, but right now, yeah, they've been buzzing. 2-0 over Burundi, 4-0 over Botswana, 4-0 over Burundi, 2-0 over Botswana, and of course Cameroon, Rashida Ajibade. I mean, that goal, yeah, worthy of a World Cup winner. So she got the goal, and Nigeria were able to dominate the Lionesses of Cameroon, and right now they are in the semi-finals. But for today, the repechage game will be played. That's a placement for the World Cup, where Tunisia and Senegal will try to see if they can, be among the 10 nations that will compete at, at a continental level, where the top 3 from there will get a ticket to the World Cup. And of course, not just that, Botswana will also try and see if they can beat Cameroon and also get that qualification ticket to go into the Continental Championship, where they will try to get a ticket to the World Cup. So it's all about the placement game today, but our concern obviously is tomorrow, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria will be taking on the host nation, Morocco. And I mean, from the feelers we're gathering, I mean, from former players, from pundits, those who've been covering women's game for a very, very long time, most of them are saying that, look, the Nigerian Morocco, these current crop of Falcons are not the vintage Falcons we used to know. But hey, come on, women's football is actually growing, so countries aren't slipping. And if you check the team, I mean, check the quarterfinals, we have more of COSAFA team. What is that telling you? What is that? It's telling you that, look, I mean, they organize competitions every year. Yes. COSAFA, both for under 17, under 20, and the senior team, men and women, every year. West Africa, Waffle, they're slipping, they're giants, so they're not really building anymore. So for Falcons and Morocco, what do you think? I mean, or would you want to rate Falcons' performance in their last 3 games?
I know you talk female football with so much fondness, because it's your team, really. For the Super Falcons, the first game, like you said, wasn't really it. Perennial rival South Africa defeating them Super Falcons by 2-1. But they picked up after and they've done so well. I think the greatest test so far has been the girls from Cameroon. Very, very strong defense. Yes. And the Super Falcon through that very, very beautiful goal from Rashida Ajibade, who also happens to be the highest goal scorer in the competition so far with 3 goals. At least moved us to the semi-finals, and again qualifying for the 9th consecutive World Cup. Even FIFA tweeted to say, "Oh, congratulations to the Super Falcons." The match against
champions, 9-time World Cup.
Exactly. The match against Morocco will be another huge test. Yeah. We expect a very, very partisan crowd, expectedly. But these are girls who ply their trade in clubs where they're used to having crowds, and I don't think I think they will be able to hold them their nerves. The game can go either way. Yes. The Moroccans are very good when it comes to set pieces. If you look at all their majority, 80% of their goals have been from set pieces. And the Super Falcons needs to be weary about that and really practice for that. But as a Nigerian, and with what I'm seeing, I see the Super Falcons, even if it's by 1 goal, taking the day against the Lionesses of Morocco.
I think what you started with, you talked about COSAFA and the fact that, yes, look at how most of their teams are still, and how well they've been doing. But you talk about the giants sleeping. It still takes you back to the report you talked about. We want to implement something or put some policies in place to take our football from this level up onto the next level. But a lot of things are supposed to have actually started even investing in from the beginning. We have not even been doing it. Now, looking at the Falcons and when they started the competition, I for one, haven't really followed their games all that well until it started. And I was so scared when I saw the injury to our star player, Asisa. Like, it really, really scared me to my bone marrow. But I wasn't really surprised when Rashid Ajibade stepped up and began doing what she was doing. And so far, so good. The team has really grown with the competition.
Absolutely.
So I'm really hoping, because look at how many. Okay, hope we talk about hope all the time. Look at look at our antecedents in this particular competition. Yes. It's basically our own competition. We literally own this championship.
Going for the La Decima.
Exactly, going for La Decima. So it will be a shame if we do not pick it up. But if eventually it happens like that, it means somebody else deserves it even better. And that's because they have put in the work and they've got into the state where they've got into. But so far, so good. Coming up against the host tomorrow. I'm really, really hopeful what our girls have been doing. We can actually take it and go in the finals.
Being in the finals, I mean, you guys are really so confident. But then, if you look at the way the coach has been set up against South Africa, we're a bit slow in the midfield, and somehow he kind of, as you mentioned, he's growing with the team, and he's been able to, try as much as possible for that midfield to be faster. You have Ngozi Okobi coming in now. Rita Chikwelu, he came in the last game. It was after, towards the end of the game before he was able to. But the last two games she didn't play. We saw that our midfield was a bit mobile compared to what we saw, against South Africa. Will that be a yardstick for us against Cameroon? You talked about we have to watch out for, the set pieces from the Moroccans. Well, set pieces, we're also good in that.
We're good in that, but we're also good. We're also conceding a lot of it.
Okay.
And that's if we are really going to, because they have an 11th, the 12th man, which is the crowd.
The crowd, the fans.
I think the game is 6 p.m., right? So it's not midnight game. So the lesser beam will not be more dangerous. Mo Salah can testify to that.
And the Moroccans too, they want this. And they have vociferous fans who will actually be routing for the team. When Wadron was hired, I was skeptical, in fairness. I was skeptical. Yes, we are still skeptical. But have I seen any improvement, especially when it comes to pattern and tactics?
Okay.
I will say yes.
Okay.
I will say yes. I'm not saying the team is a finished article yet. There's still a long way to go. Okay. But I at least I can see a pattern.
Okay.
And for me, that's improvement.
Okay.
Even if we don't win this,
all right,
we've qualified for the World Cup. Like Theo said, this is our competition. It will be nice to have the La Decima, but we've qualified for the World Cup 9th consecutive time now. Let's see what they're able to do. I think from the semi-finals onward, it too wants it more. It too wants it more.
If you want it more, right?
And little chances for mistake right now.
Okay.
And it is female football.
All right. Let's see what's going to happen in women's football on Monday for the Falcons. All right, let's talk about the Nigeria Professional Football League. Yes, the final day is today. Champions have been crowned. Yeah, a long time ago, Rivers United. Well, Ken Ochonogo, he's supposed to be here, but he's not here right now, and that's why I'm here. So he's in Port Harcourt in Rivers State. He will be talking to us right there, where Rivers will be officially, the trophy of the 2021-2022 season will be presented to the winning team. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Sisti. How are you guys in the studio? We are right here at the AWCON Amizbeka Stadium in Port Harcourt. You said it is the final day. That is what the NPFL is saying, LMC saying. But in Port Harcourt, they are saying it is Coronation Sunday. They want to coronate Rivers United. Yes, they want to coronate Rivers United. Rivers United are the champions of the NPFL. So how else do you do that than to be here? Because it's going to be a whole lot of processes. We are inside the stadium here. This is a 38,000 capacity stadium. I bet you in the next few hours, this whole stadium will be filled up because there are arrangements being made to bring every fan, every Rivers United fan, from all the nooks and crannies of Port Harcourt right here to the stadium. I would have spoken to one of them. A lot of people have been walking here, so they've all gone back to their hotels to go and get ready. A lot of work has been done since yesterday at the stadium. We were here from around 12:30 in the afternoon to see the places being cleaned. A panel bus being put there, the fields being marked, and I tell you this, everybody is waiting. Everybody's waiting for this. This is what branding is all about, putting it on the show. There are a lot of pitfalls, a lot of things that we want to talk about the league, but they said, these are the few things I said, let us show them that we can celebrate, that we are coming home. Remember, this is the 3rd time this title is coming to Rivers State. They won it as Eagle Cement, they won it as Dolphins, and then in 2016, they met Sharks. They met Sharks and Dolphins, and that is why today what you are saying is Rivers United. For the Rivers people, a title that they are celebrating right in the street of Port Harcourt, taking them down to AWCON Amezimeka Stadium. AWCON Amezimeka, you know that name.
Yes.
We call him. How do you call it? How do you talk about AWCON? Well, this is not about AWCON yet. I know he will be here today. All the prides of Rivers State will be here to celebrate the winning of the league.
As you mentioned, I just hope the stadium will be filled up, because the last time they played against Canopilas, the coach Stanley Neguma was making a special appeal that, look, it is free, you don't have to pay, that the fans should come. And when I was listening to him, when he was talking about the fans can come to the stadium with that appeal, they're playing beautiful football, they'll be crowned champions, all the fans needed to do was just to come and watch them and cheer them to victory. I hope they can turn up today, because that game against Canopilas was a big game, and you expect the stadium to be filled, but you could count the numbers of people that were there. As you mentioned, that strategies have been put in place to ensure the fans are coming to the stadium. But I think that this should have been just a time for them to, you know, get tickets or something like that, because this is, as you mentioned, Coronation Sunday. Coronation Sunday is supposed to be big. It's supposed to be where you can also, you know, make some revenue for the team, not just the government putting in so much money into it. What do you think?
Yes, your thinking is right, trying to maximize on this, no matter how token it is. But then the stadium is sited out of town. You understand? So it is not like Onikon Stadium. It is not like Taslim Balogun Stadium, which is within the city, where people can come in from the house away. It's like you are going on a journey. So it is probably part of the reason is to kind of decongest the city. That's why it is sited at a place like this. But because it is here, people have to say, how do I journey from that side to this side? And that is the issue. But they will start getting used to it. The lovers of football will get used to it. But today on, they say, look, we have won the league. We are giving this back to them. And we are showcasing. How do you celebrate in an empty stadium, CC? It doesn't make sense. But then a lot is still is being done to make sure that if you want to market the league, you have to market the league with the crowd. You have to market the league with the fans. You have to market not with the fans.
Okay, I think we're losing Mr. Ken right there. Yemi was going to ask him one or two questions concerning this, but then it's the Nigeria Professional Football League final day. Okay, Ken is back.
Time for them to start. Yes, there will be time for those ones. Like we're saying, a new season will be starting. A new CEO. He was there with me a few minutes ago, but he has to listen with me. He has to rush back. I hope we can get an interview with him before the end of the show, which you guys we can send to the studio for you guys, but not on this live show, not on live feed. He has gone back to the hotel to go and get ready to come in for the 4 o'clock festivities. So for now, what we are just doing is preparatory grounds. A lot has been talked about in the league. The league champion has emerged, like we said, in Rivers United. Plateau United is runner up. MFM, the prayer waters, prayers couldn't save them. They are down, they've been relegated. Canopilas have gone because they lost their appeal to get that 3 points back. There are some controversial issues that Canopilas want to buy another club, but the Doma United guy said, look, we are not selling. But probably somebody said, I am buying, I am not selling. It's probably bargaining cheap. Maybe we want to raise the hype. And then a lot of people, there is a lot of talk on this whether Canopilas want to buy Doma United. People say no, it is not so. I took my time to also check all about part of the world, what is happening in the South African League. I tell you this, it is like almost every year clubs buy the PSL the statue. We've seen it. We've seen Quara United going to the Delta Force and all stuff like that. So if it is alleged, they said in a free enterprise, clubs can do this. That's what I say. If the law does not say you cannot, if it's not you can buy a slot. If you go, you cannot go over there. Remember, CC, that in the EPL, once a Premier League club is relegated, there is a parachute payment. For the 3 years after the relegation, they get that money for them to stay afloat. Because at the EPL, you have signed players, your wages have increased, fans will come in, the TV money will come in, broadcast money will come in, whatever. But when you go back to the championship, you don't use that money. So the EPL give you some amount of money for you to stay afloat, so that you will not go into liquidation, so that you will not go bankrupt, because then the expenditure will more than your income. So basically, that's what it is all about. Clubs can buy and sell. We have seen Everton we saw Everton being sold. We saw Manchester United being sold a long time ago. Liverpool, Arsenal, all the top clubs, PSG, they're all in the hands of private enterprise. You cannot freeze that. So as long as it is not against the laws, Kano Pillars can buy whatever club they want to buy at that particular slot. That is legit. Let us not, moral and say this order. Yeah, that is the position. So there are a lot of battleground today.
Yeah.
But for now, like I said, Heartland and Abia Warriors. There is a dilemma there because one of them has to go down. The way I'm seeing it, I'm seeing it. I don't see if anybody can do anybody a favor. You understand? Remo Stars are, they are free. Sunshine Stars that they don't have anything to fight about. So we are looking at today as the coronation Sunday for the Rivers United, and I bet you it is excitement all galore. I wish you guys are here. I don't miss being in Lagos today. I tell you this. I don't miss. I'm happy being in Port Harcourt, not in Lagos.
I think Yemi has a question for you. Yemi wants to ask you one question. I mean, just one question.
Okay,
Yemi.
I want to listen to your question, Yemi.
Okay, Ken. The decision of the Rivers State government to merge the two teams, I think it has paid off now. Rivers United have won the league now with even games to spare. We've seen the performance of our continental reps in the past season. What are the plans for next season? While we're talking of coronation, what are the plans for next season? We've seen what Stanley Eguma has been able to do. He was backed by the backed by the state government. And like I said, this is an election year where we're going to have another government. What are the plans so that their preparations will not be disrupted?
Yes, as you can see, this is the stadium live. And then I spoke with the commissioner extensively on this. We've been having discussions. It's not just a day's discussion. The man has said for the players and the officials doing this, I take this to the bank. It is my word, and it is a fact that all the players, they've been promised a minimum of 40% increase in their salaries, wages, and allowances. But then that is not the issue. The issue is fortification. You understand? Where are their strengths and weaknesses? That is exactly what is happening here. And over the time in the league, the moment they knew that they were going to be on the African continent, they started making arrangements. They started looking at players where they can fortify. You look at Manchester City said we are losing 2 players, but we are bringing in Haaland. You look at Rivers United. So look, in our right back, we saw somebody at MFM. MFM is going on relegation. We want to bring in that. So it is going to be not just any kind of recruitment, because as at now, Rivers United is the best footballing club in the country. They have a very good team. But can they compete at the continent? Can they play Al Ahly? Can they play Zamalek? Can they play TP Mazembe? Can they go to South Africa and play Orlando Pirates? That's what we are talking about here. Can they do those things? So the man is saying we want to do it. We want to replicate what Enyimba did. Enyimba has been the one and only club to win it back to back. But remember that in '76 we won our first Cup Winners' Cup with 3SC. We saw Rangers doing it the following in 1977, and all those things have been there. But since then, what have we been doing? We've been lagging. Our ratio, our GDP in Africa has come down. So will Rivers United be the team to say, okay, fine, let us sustain that level that we have been all this while? That is what we are saying. That is what the man wants to do. And I tell you this, the man has just been compensated by the governor of the state. He has moved on to become the new commissioner for sport, going there for a second time for a job well done. He has a free hand to run the club. He has almost an open, I don't want to say that, I don't know well, but he has almost an open book check to send whoever he thinks will bring glory to Rivers United. So take this. If it has to do with let's say resources, Rivers United have the resources. If it's out of the know-how, remember Chris Green has been in the NFL corridors for some time. He tell you this and he say look, I have won 17 trophies for Nigeria. Okay, let us see if we can win the big one for Nigeria and for Rivers United if they prepare well, recruit well, not just anywhere, and keep the team because they are not the bench. The management team is still there, the technical crew is still there, and so I think with fortification and otherwise, I think they will do well on the continent. But these are projections. 1 + 1 is not always 2 when you get to the pitch.
Yes.
And you can project, but other teams are also getting ready. But I tell you, the age of preparation, Rivers United will not be lacking on the continent.
Yeah.
Ken, on a lighter note, if shooting does not get a point in Kano today, don't come home.
Shooting stars are survived. I think shooting stars are survived. They are 48 points.
Yes, they are 48 points, yes.
They are gone. Heartland, yes. We're talking about Heartland and Katsina United. The shooting stars, Yemi, you can rest well there on the studio. You can rest well, you can be happy. Your Yo-Yo club will remain in the Premier League for the next season. They are not going down. They are not going down. They will be there for this season. Shooting stars are not going down. They are not going down.
Yeah, again, I love what you said about the fact that the management of the club are trying to increase their salaries by 40%, because we know that usually when you have a team winning the league and then other teams start coming for them, I'm not talking about NPFL teams, I'm talking about teams from maybe Africa or even Europe. I mean, some will go as far as, some countries you'll be wondering, do they play football there? As far as Kuwait, because of, the euros or the dollars that are coming in, because they prefer that than just earning whatever they are earning right here. Are they trying to forestall that for players not leaving? Because this is where you have the team you may use this season. You can just have 2 or 3. I mean, maybe 2, 3, or 4. The star players are leaving. Would they try to prevent players from leaving? Because if they want to allow this team to stay together, then that's what they need to do. Not just fortifying, but also preventing those that help them to win the league from leaving the club so they can compete well on the continent.
Unless you are Real Madrid, not even Liverpool, not even Manchester United, you can't prevent any player from leaving. Right. Show me the money. When Man City show you the money, Haaland will come. When Real Madrid show you the money, Ronaldo will come. When you say you understand, so if bigger clubs, I don't think there is any club in Nigeria that can take players from Rivers United. But if Europe bring their dollars, there is no way you are going to deny it. And the man has said it. He's not going to stop anybody from moving. Okay. But he will make adequate replacement. Give him enough time to make that replacement so that it won't be a kind of ad hoc thing. It won't be a kind of, so let us just rush and get it done. No, that is not it. They are ready. They know when you are good, clubs will come for you. Smaller clubs are selling clubs. He said Rivers United is not a selling club. But sugar size now, Abi. Okay. There is no way to do about that. There is no way they will show Barrister Green the dollars and he will tell them, Governor, I don't want my player to go. Wow, take that dollar to go and recruit more and be competitive on Africa. That is the deal. That is the deal. So they are not unmindful of the fact that players will move. That is the normal thing. Players must move to greenery, whatever it is, a bigger club. As players move from NFM, as players move from Lobby Stars, other places to Rivers United. Rivers United also. You remember during when the Super Eagles want to play Mexico and I think Ecuador, Rivers United, their strikers, their best striker was there, and they played about 3 or 4 matches that period without their best striker, but they are competing in Nigeria, not on the continent. Right. So if their players leave, they can also leave out of Nigeria, go to other countries and recruit players who can adequately replace those ones. But they have a something. They are not unmindful. Players will leave. I assure you, players will leave. If they get contracts from outside Nigeria, they will leave, and you cannot hold them down. You cannot hold them down. Since nobody can do that.
All right, Ken, I think we have to let you go so that you can enjoy the Coronation Sunday in Port Harcourt.
Yes, I'm enjoying Port Harcourt, and you guys in Lagos. Yeah, catch you guys next week in the studio. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, quickly, let's just take a look at the games for today. I mean, the teams they've relegated and those that have, of course, champions, the ones that are going on the continent. Quickly, we'll just run through the games for today. Abia Warriors and Lobby Stars will be in action. Dakada FC and Sunshine Stars will also be in action. Rangers International and Aqua United, Heartland and Kwara United, Remo Stars and Niger Tornadoes, Rivers United and Gombe United, MFM and Nasarawa United, Kano Pillars and Shooting Stars, Wiki Tourists and Katsina, Plateau United, and Eimba International. Of course, for the standings, the way it's looking like, of course, you already had champions Rivers United. There's Plateau United also finishes second, Remo Stars, Kwara, followed by that. Rangers finished fifth, Eimba sixth, Gombe United on seventh. And of course, you look at the teams that have been relegated. Okay, we'll say Dakada and Heartland, Kano Pillars, they're not so, but MFM, of course, they belong relegated. It's only this NPFL, I see a team with 45 points and it goes on relegation. That's how tough it is.
So,
just wrap this up quickly before going to break.
Okay, so 2 teams are in on for the 3rd position. That's talking about Remo and Kwara United.
Okay.
But again, let me correct an impression. Shooting can still go down.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
They can still go down. Shooting, they have 48
points.
Points.
United.
So if Atland, so Kano Pillars and the Church team, that's MFM, they're already confirmed down. So if Atland wins his game, they're on 44. That takes them to 40. That takes them to 47.
Okay. Shooting, come on. Shooting, shooting will go on relegation.
They
can.
They can. 2 teams will still join after Kano Pillars and MFM.
You know what, Theo, we have to sign you out. We need to go on a break. So when we come back, we'll be joining us on the segment. Of course, we'll be talking about insurance, the fact that they are back in the NPFL after a very, very long time. Yeah, transition was made. We have Okweyemi Ajala in the studio right here. Happy Sunday to you.
Thanks, Sisi, for having me. And you did quite a lot on the league. But it's like so far, so, because the people who celebrate so much. Since 2014, we've only made the Champions League stage just on 2 occasions. And that was Lubia and Eyimba in 2016, 2019. So it's like we're just making up the numbers.
To fill up. All right, let's see if we're going to have something different, next season. All right, let's talk about the teams that have gained promotion to the NPFL. Bender Insurance, after a very long time, they beat Gateway FC 3-1 right there in Benin City. And, of course, they confirmed officially they are in NPFL. I was trying to remember how long it's been that Benin Insurance have been away. I mean, this is a club that have been run professionally for the last 5 or 6 years, and they've been trying as much as possible to get back into the big boys league, because they were big boys before. Yeah. After going down, they were playing on the small boys team, but right now the big boys league, and of course they did that in style at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. When you look at the stadium, how beautiful it is, like, wow, they're not playing top flight football here. So next season, people in Benin City will enjoy top flight football.
Yes,
what do you think?
Of course, the Ogbemudia Stadium holds a different kind of memory for different set of people. When you recall that Sierra Leone came for 4 goals down to draw against our own Super Eagles.
Okay. Heartbreak.
So, but again, the exploit of Bender Insurance, I don't know whether it's still proper to call them Bender Insurance. Bender used to be Bini and Delta. That makes up Bender. So maybe just Edo Insurance. Their exploit in the FA Cup in the 70s, someone like Ibrahima will tell you that was what brought him into football. That sort of energized the whole of the Bini Edo area. And you talked about a team being professionally run, but it's also a team that has that executive backing. When you have your deputy governor who has immunity from any offense, also as a footballer, he played with the state team at the sport festival. So I think it's a team that has everything going for them. And I think it's good to at least have that brand in our NPFL next season. They've done well.
Yeah, so like you said, joining the league of big boys, Bendel Insurance, this is a team that you will rate almost on the same level with the likes of Shooting Stars, with what they've been able to do, especially in the Nigerian league. We're happy to have them back, and we're hoping that the Adewale boys, talking about the stationery stores in Lagos, Adebayo boys, when would they be able to also come up? We want those traditional teams. Those are the team. Those were the teams that made our league tick then. Worthwhile, dragged a lot of people to the stadium over the weekend, and it will be fun having at least the Edo Insurance back in the Nigerian Premier League.
Well, let's take a listen to the Deputy Governor Afele Shaibu talking about what they intend to do when they get to NPFL after getting the NPFL tickets.
So, unlike last year, where some teams have to be getting boardroom points, this time Bender Insurance is in the Premiership. It's in NPFL without boardroom points. They got their points. They won their matches home and away, and the management of the league did not need to give them boardroom points. So this is how a league should be organized: win your matches and win to qualify or win to win the trophy, not to be given free points. So I'm excited, I'm happy, and I hope that the management team of the league will improve on what they've done so far. So I want to give them kudos and to say, I think insurance is back and they will never go down. They are up, and we are up there. We are not going down again.
Yeah. I think I'll say amen to that.
I like that.
Yeah, that optimism. It's right there. I mean, he mentioned something.
There's always a great tendency for a team that comes up
to go down.
To go down.
Well, when a club is properly run and well-funded, I mean, players have everything. All they need to do is play football. Don't worry about any other thing. So if you have the structure in place,
the NPFL
you have
goes beyond that.
NPFL,
and I saw him speaking to boardroom points.
I was going to ask someone to help. Who is going to define boardroom points for me? I mean,
I think to bring it home, how people get to understand, just like elections in our country, where once you lose, you go to the tribunal.
Okay.
So, boardroom point is like going to the tribunal. Say, look, this person looking for technicalities. Say no, feeding ineligible players. We also love boardroom point in youth 2018 World Cup. What saved us was because we had enough points in our bag because we feeded Ishewu Abdullahi and the Algeria protested and we were deducted 3 points, so that is boardroom point. But in
NPFL setting or NNL, okay, NNL setting.
In the NPFL setting or NNL, it should be, if you are awarding a point, let it be as at when due, not after the table has been decided. That is where we have issue with that boardroom point. And it's supposed to be an exception, but it has become the norm in our league. Just so this season we've not had that rush of boardroom point.
Yeah, now I understand why it's actually commending the management of the league for putting up a good one, because remember what happened to Remo Stars last season. Okay, yeah, that's a discussion that will not happen on the show today. So we're leaving the NNL and also NPFL and quickly talk about this one. Calvin Bassey, I mean, he's been Brighton. Most clubs actually wanted him from Bundesliga to EPL, but he is going to Netherlands. He's going to Ajax. Yes, for 22 million euros plus add-on, 5 million euros add-on. And I'm thinking, is this the right one for him? Because this is a very versatile player that can play in any position. And you look at him, I'm looking at Virgil van Dijk, okay, yeah, that's high. But, I mean, that's how I rate it, because he's 22, he's very young, so he's a player that is very, very versatile. And you're looking at his living Rangers, and you're going to IS, I think they're the same level. I mean, the same level of team. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
So, yes, you might say they are on the same level. But however, United is taking away Martinez from Ajax, and Ajax wants a replacement, and they've looked at Calvin Bassey. Rangers too wants to cash in on the money. They've let Aribo go to Southampton. Having made it to the final of the Europa League, it's time for them to at least get funds from some of the players. But for the development of Calvin Bassey, I think Ajax is not going to Ajax won't be a bad move. This particular move will make him the costless defender in the history of Nigeria. The person who currently holds that is Taribo West. He went to AC Milan from Auxerre for $10.5 million back then. So for 22.5, it shows you how highly rated Calvin Bassey is. So this is a player who started from the Leicester youth team. He wasn't really reckoned with before. He went on to Charlton, Rangers, and now is an okay. So for me, I think it's good for his development. And Ajax is that place where you can actually do 1-2 seasons in Ajax and do well, and other top clubs will come for him.
Okay, he made 50 appearances on competitions for Rangers last season. The Rangers got to the final of the Europa League, and of course, he was one of the players that was named in the Europa League team of the season. That's how big I think it is. I mean, when you have a player that can play any position. I was listening to Chris Boyd on Sky Sports when he was talking about the run that he had, that he's unbelievable. He can play left back, he can play left of a 2, he can play left of a 3, so center of a 3. So a player like that,
a boy coming from the streets and getting this and being part of the Ranger Invincibles, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So that's why I felt Ajax was a bit something big.
Possibly because of the achievement of Liverpool. People tend not to notice what Rangers did last season, and he and Aribo were integral part of that Rangers team. Liverpool played all matches available. last season. Rangers also played all matches available. The only thing, instead of doing the Champions League, they were doing it in the Europa League.
Yeah.
They won the FA Cup, they won the Scottish League Cup, they came second in the league. So everything Liverpool achieved, Rangers achieved. And being an integral part of that team, you said a very versatile player, someone like Muda Lawal of old. So going to, because the challenge, you have your limitations when it comes to the Scottish League.
Yes.
10 teams, so you tend to play yourself like three times. But with Ayers, you have players with different technicalities and ability coming from the academy and the rest. So it tends to benchmark himself with about 4 or 5 other equally strong teams in the Dutch league. So going from Rangers to the Eredivisie League, I think is a better prospect for him. And of course, he will shine there. But again, we should ask ourselves this question.
Good move.
We had the Finidi signing from Sharks.
Sharks, yeah, straight to
Ayers. Yeah. When last have we achieved that?
Okay. Kevin Bassey wasn't born in Nigeria. We should know that, right? He grew up in England, and of course, he's representing Nigeria. He made his debut, during the qualifiers for the World Cup, and which we couldn't get a ticket to that. So leaving Kevin Bassey now, I agree that it's a good move for him. It's going to help his career. Maybe in 2 years' time, well, you can see maybe a record deal to United or maybe a bigger club. Who knows? All right, now let's talk about Manchester United, of course. I mean, the buzz around is the fact that, United are back. Why? Because the preseason, they've been good, scoring 8 goals, conceding 1, beating Liverpool 4-0, and of course, a club in Australia, beating them 1-0. I mean, they went a goal down, and of course, Martial scoring, Rashford also on the score sheet. So this is a United, and of course, we are going into the new season. So I'm going to ask you guys just some quick questions. Are United really back, or are we going to judge them with what they've done? Or should we wait for the season to start? Because right now, how many names are you hearing that are coming in? Not so much. And of course, with the saga of Ronaldo wanting out and no club is even wanting him, so it's more like a bit tricky.
I read and said something like just yesterday, that this United team is very ordinary, and I tend to want to agree with him. Ronaldo went away. Preseason is really, yes, to keep your players fit, but we all know, and we're not deluded with the result, because we all know that when the Premier League, when it comes on, it's nothing. It's nothing equal to what we're seeing in preseason.
So you're saying
when the likes of Man City are shelving print players, shelving print players like Sterling to Chelsea, Gabriel Jesus, these are players who will walk into Man U's first team any day, and they're bringing in the likes of Alan. You should know that United is not ready to compete for the
before we go quickly, Lewandowski to Barcelona. Barcelona seems not to have money, but then they've sold their future, so to speak, and they've got collected Spotify and all that, collected so much money, and now they're buying. Lewandowski is 33 years old, and is going to Barcelona for 45 million euros. And Sadio Mane was sold for how much to Bayern? These guys are making business. Your thoughts on that, quickly?
Yeah, a union of the Dortmund union between Lewandowski and Bayern, we're having that again. And again, Barcelona, what they are doing this season to have a very good squad. It's not about the first team players or the reserve, because they stand refereeing as well from Lille. So that is a team that is actually prepared for this season under their legendary player, Xavi, who is now the manager. So I think they will have a very decent season this year.
All right, very decent season, but United may not have that. That's what Yemi said, but Barcelona will have a decent season.
Unless they buy more players.
Guys, it was actually nice doing this with you again. It's a long time.
Yeah, Sisi, as we run the show, yes, it's the final day of the NPFL. For me, I think we should look at what we did well this season with respect to organization, refereeing, and all whatnot, and try as much as possible to correct that next season. Kano Pillars, they are the architect of their own misfortune.
Okay.
Speaking with the Super Falcons for their La Liga, La Decima, so let's hope they come back home with the title for the 10th time.
Yeah, going for 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a great day.